Rising up from the stagnant postmodernist primordial soup, we witness the stirrings of a new anthropocentric era, a time marked by an intense focus on the human experience, yet paradoxically riddled with contradictions. This metaphorical soup, a product of postmodernist thought, symbolizes an era of ambiguity, fluidity, and deconstruction, where grand narratives were dismantled and meaning fragmented. And now, as we emerge from it, we see not clarity, but a yearning, a deep, visceral craving for structure, identity, and meaning in a world that often denies their existence. These new anthropocentric times do not signify a return to a stable order, but rather the beginnings of a cultural milieu where humanity, in its desperation, has placed itself once more at the center of meaning-making. Yet this centrality is not without tension. In the shadows of this emergence lies the undeniable truth that many cling to external labels, identities, affiliations, movements, as a surrogate for the deeper, more laborious work of self-acceptance and personal integration. The craving for validity and belonging becomes an almost existential cry. In a world overwhelmed by information and images where identities are increasingly performative and mediated through digital landscapes, people seek validation not from within, but from others. Social media, cultural tribes, and ideological silos offer the illusion of belonging, yet these structures often rest on fragile, shifting sands. Without the foundational work of self-acceptance, these labels become hollow shells, decorations on the exterior of a self that remains fragmented, alienated, and unseen. This is not merely a psychological issue, but a deeply philosophical one. It speaks to the human condition in an age of rapid change, the tension between the universal need for authenticity and the postmodern denial of stable truths. Labels, though comforting, are simulacra of identity. They mimic the real but are untethered from the ontological foundations of what it means to be. Heidegger's concept of thrownness reminds us that we are all cast into a world not of our choosing, and yet we are tasked with the challenge of constructing meaning authentically. To cling desperately to a label without laying the foundations of self-acceptance is, in Heideggerian terms, to flee into the inauthentic, to evade the hard truths of being. Furthermore, Sartrean existentialism warns us that our freedom, the freedom to define ourselves, carries with it a burden. Labels offer refuge from this burden. They allow us to hide from the responsibility of confronting our own freedom and forging a path that is authentically ours. In choosing labels over introspection, we risk what Sartre calls bad faith, mauvaise foi, a denial of our own existential agency. Yet there is hope in this anthropocentric turn, for it signals that humanity still seeks meaning, even if the paths to it are fraught with missteps. The philosopher Charles Taylor speaks of the malaise of modernity, a sense of disconnection and disorientation in an era of individualism. But Taylor also posits that this malaise contains within it the seeds of renewal, an opportunity to rediscover authenticity by grounding our identities not in external validation, but in an honest engagement with ourselves and others. To rise above the primordial soup, then, is to transcend both the postmodern rejection of stable truths and the superficial comfort of labels. It is to embark on the difficult, lifelong task of self-discovery and self-acceptance. This process requires courage, the courage to face oneself without distraction, to accept the shadows and contradictions within, and to build a foundation that can withstand the shifting tides of culture and time. Only then can the anthropocentric turn become more than a hollow recentering of humanity. It can become a renaissance, a rebirth of meaning that reconciles the fractured self with the world. In this reconciliation, we may finally find not just labels but belonging, not just validation, but a profound sense of being at home in the universe.